Alright folks, hello and welcome back to Downstage Gaming. I'm your host Josh, and this is part 19 of our Let's Play of Head as Code. When we last left off, we'd gone back towards the beginning and went to our first room instead, this time with Ray. We went to the chambre, a bedroom of sorts, or a place where a bunch of cots were. And Ray had a big day there. We learned a little bit about Ray, and now we have a hammer. We also found that weird note that Ray found in the original timeline with the weird I and E, but nobody knows about that besides us yet. When will it be hammer time? I don't know. Swiftly, I stashed it away inside my coat. There was the possibility the tool might serve as a weapon for someone later, and by keeping it, I was hoping to eliminate the threat. Which is interesting, because I don't think, at least that we know of, anybody has ever used a hammer as a weapon up until this point. Not to mention, it could be useful in another room. Escape rooms are always telling you to just bring a hammer to it. Just kind of smash whatever you want. There was no rule about having to leave behind the objects we found, right? Collar just activates. After unlocking the way back out of here, I fetched Ray to this side of the station when I realized we could make our way back to the first station we started at. So we can go back then. That's a relief. I hope the others will choose to do that too. Are you the kind of person who always looks back and never moves forward? We could just keep going, too. Not sure why you're so insistent on going back. No, I mean, aren't you curious about what was in the first station we were at, too? Apparently my reasoning went over his head because he didn't seem to care one way or the other. I frowned in the face of that selfishness. Was his suggestion to leave everyone behind? Listen, you don't need the rest of them, it's just you and me now. Lovers. Wait, what? It's kind of useless to do that unless we found something of note. Since there was nothing here, we could just keep going for a while. Oh, we found something of note, alright. I decided to keep my mouth shut about the paper I found. Especially with him around, I didn't feel safe exposing the message. For all I could predict, he'd decide I'm the person who doesn't belong. I know you don't care about the others. You don't know much. Be that as it may, it's still a good idea to tell them about the scanner room, at least. It'll take a few minutes at most. With a shrug, he took a sip of his flask. Thankful he was at least cooperative enough to wait for the train back home alongside me, I decided to chat with Ray a little. Even if he was antisocial, I was certain he might have some information for me. You sure you're not drinking too much of that? Yeah, I mean, with the amount that he seems to drink, even if it was just a little sip at a time, and how big this bottle looks, like, it seems like he would have run out pretty easily. Cutting me short, the train arrived as I asked the question, half drowning out my words. We boarded it, and to my surprise, Ray actually answered while we entered. Are you sure you're not drinking too much of that? Who made the medicine? I think I'd know how to take it. Mind your business. I wisely chose to acknowledge his retort and drop the subject nigh instantly after he repeated what I said in a mocking tone. The train set off right after the little three-step chime signaling its departure. Brocane Station, Bibliothèque. So, anything good on the news lately? His question took me out of my budding daydream. The surprise was most likely written all over my face since he frowned at me. Hey, don't put up an act. You're not the only one allowed to ask stupid, time-wasting questions. It was hardly time-wasting before. We were waiting for the train. Well, I mean, now we're waiting on the train, so your point is moot, Simon. Whatever. I don't really watch the news, but last time I did, I heard about some explosion in New York. Even if I didn't care for the event, had my own issues to deal with, it was in their subway. The subway? Eat fresh? That was weeks ago. Yeah, exactly. That event, you know, the bad one. Makes you think, huh? Since we're stuck in a metro or subway or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Some people are insane and terrorists are still going hard at it. To be honest, I just want to get the fuck out of here before, you know. I didn't personally believe terrorists were involved in that incident, but I kept quiet, thinking it best not to set him off and have him blow up on me. Well, the terrorists are the ones that are going to do the blowing up, Simon. Are you saying you think they're related events? Maybe. That place got bombed really hardcore. Just feels similar. I don't want to hope there's a bomb here at all, but if there is one, well, I don't like it. So, a thought just popped into my head. Which is that, I mean, obviously there's got to be some relation between these events, or otherwise why would they bring it up multiple times, right? Why would they bring it up at all? And my thinking is, we know... In fact, I think A even said as much, didn't he? And that Agno said as much in that first timeline we went through, that something similar happened in New York. So we can presume something similar to this capturing in-game, for whatever reason. And then Agnos blew it all up. So presumably the one who did the blowing up was Agnos. But we just don't know what exactly went on there. I'd rather be miles away whenever this place gets blown sky high. You get me? I silently nodded. Satisfied with my docile agreeing, he resumed sipping from his glass while leaning against the inside of the train. Maybe that medicine was making him paranoid, too. What did I believe about it? It wasn't clear. Maybe he was right. Maybe he wasn't. I don't like having opinions. If he was, though, we were in some deep shit. Station. Bibliothèque. The train stopped at the library station. From the windows, I could tell no one would be boarding it back. Either Jasmine and Marco already made their way to the first station, or they continued past ours. I could tell because the door was open here, so they definitely were done with this place. The train doors opened and closed uselessly, as no one would be leaving here. Feels like there should be some system in place here, like some sort of like a light outside the door that tells you like this room hasn't been solved, this room is like in progress being solved, and this room has been solved. But I guess they purposely want to leave that, you know, oblique. The chime rang out once again. I basked in the atmosphere of the metro. Silent, calm, filled with ray, until the train departed again. Brocane Station, garde manger. I closed my eyes and drifted off as we went back to the first station, which I learned on the way was called the leisure station, whatever that meant. I would think that'd be pretty clear. Station, loiser. Sorry, sir. When the train stopped moving, we disembarked. Finally back onto solid ground, I stretched my arms and legs, looking around to see if anybody was back yet, or if we won the imaginary room-solving race. 4 had already finished before us. Damn, we got 3rd place. Maybe if Ray had helped from the beginning. Hey, where are the twins? They aren't back yet? Jasmine shook her head when I called for them. No, they haven't come back yet. I'm a little worried. We've been here maybe 10 or 20 minutes now, hard to tell, talking about what we found in our rooms. Obviously, we explored the library. Had some food in it too, like a sandwich. Looked kinda gross, but I was hungry, so it's whatever. Old man A won the sustenance jackpot though, since his room was a pantry. I noticed Jasmine had a bag now, which she didn't have before. Oh, interesting. So A has chosen to trust her this time instead? Wouldn't have noticed it if I'd just been looking at her from the front, since it was tied and hanging off her back. It seemed strangely familiar, and upon taking a glance at the old man, I realized it was similar to the bag he was holding. Did he share something with her? Jasmine noticed my glance. I was ready to defend myself about how I was looking at her, how I wasn't looking at her butt or anything, but she already took the lead. Oh, this butt? A is lending me some stuff so I can communicate with E too. That's just in case we split up again and we won't be stuck in the same teams every time. I see. Off to the side was the other girl. We weren't doing much and there was no reason to waste time, so I decided to strike up conversation with someone. All of them were pretty much free to talk, but the old man himself was examining the consoles. If I spoke to him, I would probably end up in a long talk. Best be if I kept him for last. Unless I wanted to move on from this situation anyway. No, let's chat. How's E doing this time around? I approached E, even if I obviously couldn't talk with her. Damn, I wanted to ask her about her mask and stuff, but I couldn't do it alone, and it would be too conspicuous if I investigated with Jasmine's help. Oh yeah, God forbid they see you asking about her general situation. Then again, maybe I could still get some other info out of her if I asked Jasmine. Oh, yeah, we're gonna call Jasmine to help. Hey, Jay. I want to ask E some stuff. Can you come over here? Okay, sure. Since I don't have a lot of paper, we have to make it quick. It would give me some experience for later, at least, so I'm all good with it. What do you want to ask? Maybe... I didn't exactly know what I wanted to ask E. I was really freaking out about it. I couldn't ask her anything too complicated, but I also didn't want to ask her something useless. I want to know what her favorite color is. Wait, are you trying to use me to flirt with her? No. No, I swear. Okay, something else then. Maybe we could ask her about... My eyes darted all around, trying to find something I could ask her. Did she... Did she like trains, E? E, I gotta know. Do you like trains? What about the color of her hair? Was it natural? No. No, it is not. Or her dress, or the straps of her dress over her shoulder. Yeah, you are... You are down bad, my man. Her... Bruh. Size... S! You can't just ask her that. I quickly confounded myself in excuses following my spaghetti moment. Excuse me? Sorry. I guess I don't want to ask her anything in the end. Don't get mad, it was just a something. I don't know. I didn't mean it. Jasmine huffed and walked away indignantly. That did win points with anybody. Well, at least he didn't have to be there for it. Or know that it was happening. Alright, let's give Jasmine a chance to cool off here. Let's talk to these two D-bags. I came by the two of them as they were discussing what they found in their rooms. Yeah, we found a scanner room, but we couldn't take it. We didn't find that 9th person, or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be. You sure it's even a way out? Possibly. It wasn't part of the puzzle, as far as I could tell. Yeah, he's right. We solved the room without needing to go through it. Huh. Our room had that too. Does every station have a way to leave? We just have to pick one? If that's the case, we should take the one closest to our home. Yeah, I mean, sure, that has a kind of logic to it, Marco. You two know each other that well? Oh, you blew it, Marco. Jesus, Marco. Yeah, we're roommates. I wanted to tell Marco to shut up, but because I didn't feel right leaking all my secrets like that, but in retrospect, it was pretty obvious that I knew Marco and Jasmine. Doesn't matter. The real issue is finding that 9th person before we try leaving, otherwise. He made a gun with his hand and pointed the end of his own head, mimicking it going off. And made a really realistic sound effect? Bang. Just like that. You all heard it, right? For some reason I have that ability. It's a magic power that I've had since I was a child. It would probably be simpler to say it would just cut your head off. My hand shook a little when I remembered that fact. It was so easy to forget we were wearing the collars when at any moment they could decide to cook our necks clean off. Anyway, meet back up later. I waved them off, walking away before my nervousness became more apparent. Hey, Jay. Did your group find anything weird in your room? What do you mean by that? I don't know, like some special instructions or additional tools or... We had a tablet. It doesn't connect to anything though, and its battery seems to be extremely limited. At least that's what M said. Marco probably operated it, if I had to guess. He's good with that kind of thing. We didn't really find tools. There was a weird clock, I think. Weird how? It had 4 hands. It was equal to 2 people, huh? Technically, we all have 4 hands, but our feet don't really count as hands anymore. They used to count, you know? You know how evolution works? When we were big monkeys? Those are called gorillas. They could be called elephants, and I wouldn't really care. Well, then why are you bringing it up, Jasmine? This is useless. Anyway, I meant to say that clock was strange, but it was part of the puzzle solving. So, nothing special then. Yep. Nothing. I decided to keep quiet about the note I found for now, because I love secrets. Maybe I'd share it with her later, when there would be fewer people out and about. Alrighty. I approached the old man while he was examining the door with the keypad next to it. This one was different from the others, even when seen from afar. The ones at our station had just one console, but this one had 4 little keypads. I didn't know why, but I immediately believed all 4 of those were representative of the 4 codes we got from our stations. Sadly, we were missing the twins still, so we couldn't open this yet. Hey, I thought to open this, maybe we have to enter our 4 passwords.
That's a good idea, but we're still lacking one of our search parties. I tried entering some things to test it too. Anything that isn't the solution it wants seems to clear immediately after I press OK.
He motioned to the first console on the wall.
However, this one didn't when I entered the code to the pantry. The numbers are still stuck there exactly the way I entered them, as if it were frozen. Alas, as I mentioned, without the twins we won't be able to open this, and we are unable to take the train to return to our previous stations, unless we cross the rails, which is a terrible idea. That means we aren't even able to help them, even if we'd elect to send another search party among ourselves. And also, they couldn't go in, because there can only be 2 people at a time. This is quite the pickle.
Right. Nothing stops us from having us enter the codes and then leave, though, no?
Ah, that's true. If we left a token force, like a duo here, they could meet up with the twins again when they were finished, enter the final code, and check this place out, while the rest of us move on for now. It may save us some time in the long run.
I agree. I volunteer to head out, then. The others had come by when they realized we were discussing about our next plan of action. Everyone but E took part in the discussion. Poor E. Yeah, I think we should head out, too. It's true I'd like to wait for the twins, but I also want to see further in. Maybe we find that ninth person, too. Hard to admit, but I agree with Ray. Smiley said this station was special, right? For all we know, this place is more like a checkpoint and not an exit. A was silent, relating what others were saying to E while we talked it out. He spoke up to let us know of E's choice in the matter.
E would like to keep exploring, but I think I would rather stay here and wait for the twins. What about you, Jay? What is your preference?
She looked over at me. Seemed like she'd pick whatever I'd go with. I shook my head as if to tell her to make her choice without taking me into account. It's dangerous when I make choices. That changes the timeline. I'd like to head out, then. That would make 4 of us, I think.
Right, we have our team set.
Hey, wait, I didn't get to say something.
Ah, that's correct, too. Well, if you would prefer to leave this place to explore, that would be a little difficult for us. So if you want to be like a total brat, you know, I guess you could, but we'd have to remake the teams.
That's true, but I was flustered because they didn't even think of asking for my opinion. Me, the young white male. As it was, Em and Ray would go together, and Jasmine and E would go as our second team. I would be staying here with A to wait for the twins. I didn't know if I liked that idea. Yeah, me and Agnes together, I don't know. I looked over at the others. All of them seemed pretty convinced they wanted to go. The only one who would be able to switch out for me would be E, since she would be less useful to search, probably. That meant I would take E's place if I went. Okay, I made my decision.
Out with it already. We don't have all day. Yes, what is it you wish to do?
Ooh, getting sweaty. As the old man hurriedly questioned me, I made up my mind. I'm curious to see what happens if we stay. So let's stay for now. My kinder nature took over, so I decided to stay behind. The fact it wouldn't disturb the groups already formed was just an added bonus to the fact I wanted to make sure the twins were fine if I could help it. I'll stay here, but before you go, don't forget to enter your code in the console, so when the twins get here, we can get it open. With that, the teams quickly formed. There wasn't any need for a dispute. Marco and Ray went together, the other team was made of Jasmine and E. After they left with the next train, I turned to A. Funny how they split up boys with boys and girls with girls, huh?
Yes! Very funny. Is this what this is gonna be like?
What, not amused? I've noticed you're not too open to joking around. I don't know what happened for you to lose your sense of humor, but it's good to let loose sometimes, even if the things I say aren't particularly funny or interesting.
At my age? Perhaps. However, I tend to prefer resolving all manners of problems by using my head. After all, don't you harbor your own worries too?
He wasn't wrong. I was thinking about the twins while leaning against the wall. I wondered when they'd come back. I hope they were safe, of course. Smiley was some bastard for kidnapping 2 young, innocent girls and keeping them in this terrible place. She had looked so frightened earlier, which honestly was an understandable reaction. H was the fiercer one, and because of that, she hadn't looked so scared, but I'm sure she felt similarly. As usual, my head went into the abyss of worst-case scenarios. What if one of them got injured while exploring their room? Or what if they couldn't solve what they had to do? Anything was possible. It made me wonder about what would happen if we couldn't escape one of those rooms. Would we stay stuck there? Would Smiley get us out? Certainly, Smiley had a goal too, didn't he? Was us dying part of that goal? Doesn't seem like it.
I see I hit the jackpot with that one. You went completely silent to my question.
His outburst pulled me out of my thoughts. Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem. I will pardon you, but in return, I desire to have a little bit of a thought experiment with you to better explain what I think about. Is that fine?
Do I have a choice?
No. I trust you have heard of the infinite monkey theorem at least once, yes.
Is this infinite monkey and infinite typewriters? Apparently I didn't have a choice. That's the thing with the Shakespeare monkey. That's the thing with what the monkeys that speak Shakespeare, right?
Something like that. The example of Shakespeare's work is simply used in this context to illustrate something complex, ultimately being reproduced. Let's keep it to the simplest terms. Let's say, for example, you have one monkey hitting keys at random on a typewriter. Eventually, give enough time, say infinite time, the monkey will probably, at some point, have entered the exact sequence to reproduce anything. Be it Shakespeare's work, be it the digits of pi, be it a highly secret encoded message from the government about the state of a nuclear war, it will almost surely be reproduced.
There's a nuclear war? What?
It's just an example. I'm simply explaining that there are a few parameters that come into play, and all of those aren't literally what the theorem says. The monkey isn't actually a monkey, too. It's just something that means a force incapable of thinking for itself, selecting at random. The other parameter is, as I explained, the sequence being reproduced. Given those, then any sequence will almost surely be reproduced, which means it may also never happen forever. However, given infinite time, then it will happen, and infinitely so. It would take infinite time to reproduce it, but even if it's crazy, with a second infinite time, then it'll happen again. After all, infinity times infinity is simply that, infinity. All mathematical equations regarding infinity always end the same way. If you add infinity to infinity, it gives infinity. Multiplication, same deal. Dividing it will only give 1, because infinity is still, in this case, a variable that represents a set number. That number just so happens to be infinity. And if you subtract it, then it gives 0. Even if you multiply infinity by itself multiple times, even if you add it up, even if you do anything to make it bigger, as soon as you subtract infinity from it, it's gone. But I digress, we're a little off topic. It's probably a bit conceptual for you, eh, Simon?
I crossed my arms, unable to really comprehend what this madman was on about. What was this about infinity? Marvel?
Let's go back to the monkey. Instead of using a monkey, let us use human beings. We'll give them the freedom of thought, too. Let's put, say, infinite people in a circle.
That's a big circle.
Give the first one a paper and a pen, and let's say the paper is infinitely long and the pen is infinitely filled with ink. Now each person will pass the paper to each other and write a letter. What are the chances of something being reproduced?
I don't know, it's still random, no?
Ah, but there's the catch. This time we don't have a random monkey. We have people with their own sense of observation.
Right, they could read what's already been put there.
Those senses and everyone's thoughts will affect which letter they put after the other. They may start seeing patterns. If you write F-U-N-K, what do you think the next letter might be? Z?
Y, maybe? Funky Town?
That's right, Funky Town. People will write funky because that's what their mind and bodies want to do. In that sense, do you think the person that put the letter Y had free will?
Well, yes, the person could have also picked something else. They just happened to pick it because they felt it was the most natural conclusion.
Aha, don't you think that's strange? The person certainly had free will, but they picked Y for extremely logical reasons. If you replace them with someone else, what do you think would happen?
I guess it depends on the person?
Correct! Now, what does that mean?
But his question would go unanswered. I saw a train approach. Right as he asked that, my attention snapped to it. Wait, but I think we were just getting to the important part. Through the windows, I saw the twins arrive. I was glad, because they were fine, but also because I made the right decision in waiting here. I got to talk about Funky. The twins stepped out of the train and they looked around, apparently surprised we weren't more numerous.
Oh, welcome back, young ladies. As you see, we've been waiting for you to come back. The others have left for other stations with the intent to expedite our escape.
I let him speak with them while I waited next to the consoles. Type it in! I want to see! It didn't take long for the two of them to enter their code too, and soon the door was open for all of us. Time to see what's up in here. Stepping through the lobby, I noticed it was just like any other station. Don't you think that's dangerous? Entering this place with all four of us? What if we get punished?
No, I don't believe so. Smiley said this one was different than the others. It seems this is the leisure station. Let us find what this means.
We all climbed up the stairs. When we arrived inside, we saw something interesting. It was some sort of lounge. Fun. We should have a look around before all those chumps who left us behind get back here. You shouldn't discard them so readily, sis. Well, they chose to go, so it's whatever. Not too trustworthy, if you ask me. At the twins' insistence, we explored the place. I figured A was more level-headed than the others, so if I chose to talk to him, we'd probably go further in, and I would lose the chance of seeing what was around here for myself first. Alright, so let's talk with these two first, then we'll look around, then we'll finish things off with A. So about your escape room, did it go well? Because you took 3 hours. Kind of. I couldn't see the colors too well, though. Oh, that doesn't sound great. If you needed colors, yeah, I can see why that would be an issue. Just kidding. It's my sister who's colorblind. But you just said... What? Is it possible only one twin is colorblind? Of course it is. It's rare, but yes. Which one of us is colorblind? I don't know. Maybe it was her sister who was colorblind? I couldn't tell. This riddle would eat at me for a while. What does this matter? While I was caught in my thoughts, G scampered off. What do you got for me, H? What do you want? Let's just check you in, since you took quite a while to solve your room. Did anything happen there? No, we were fine. It's not because I'm colorblind or anything. You're colorblind? I just said I wasn't. But... H glared at me. I dropped the subject. Maybe your sister was colorblind then. The Colorblind Riddle. Whoa, whoa, wah! Ah! Hey, you can't reach that from where you are. One of the twins have been in the process of trying to reach the machine at the top. She was doing Mario jumps, and it was very weird. It was hard to differentiate them, but I believe this one to be H. But if we can't reach it, maybe it's a time travel device. Don't you recognize the hum coming from it? Didn't we think it was a time travel device last time, though? It's clearly an air conditioner. Yeah, your head looks like it needs a hair conditioner. Air, not hair. Right, your head's covered with hair, and it's also full of air. You little devil. I'm getting owned by the youths. Help, he's gonna beat me up. What? G came by right away, looking at me with a frown. I wasn't gonna do anything, I swear. Besides, the machine isn't humming, you dumbass. It could be anything. H pulled her tongue at me, and all I could do was glare at her. What a pair of scamps! But she was right. The machine was turned off, so how did I know this was an air conditioner? Let's look at it again. Still gotta time travel? What makes you want to time travel that much anyway? Life was much simpler back then. If I could time travel, then I'd be at home and having fun. That was just a few hours ago, though. Nah, I don't think so. Your home's still there when you escape this place. H disregarded what I was saying to keep jumping and try to grab onto the machine to bring it down. It took me fetching G for her to stop, because if she broke the AC, Smiley might have gotten mad at us. You know what? That's punishable. Activate the collar. This looks like a good couch. I give it a 7 out of 10. Huh? We're rating couches now? It's the comfort level. Looks familiar enough that I'm willing to give it a 7 out of 10. What if I sat on it, though? G did exactly that. Her face lit up. Oh, this is the couch of the heavens. 10 out of 10, straight up. Who even taught you about this? Did you just make it up? No, an old lady did, I think. I can't remember too well. Well, that old lady is whack then. Straight up whack. But I'll take your word for it on the comfort level thing. This table was so reflective. I could see my face on it. It was almost as reflective as a mirror. It was so shiny. I clapped my cheeks to wake myself up. There was no time to get lost in its shininess. Or is there? Maybe one more look. No! No! No looking. The tables have turned. Ha 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 ha. Scary note here. Wicked. Oh, and this also has the class symbol and the thing that's in the church. It's kind of wicked. Yeah, same thing I thought. Cool, too. Yeah, wait, no, that's not what wicked means. Guess you're just old. I'm barely in my 20s. Yeah, old man. Old man. Old man. Oh my god, stop! I fled the scene feeling I was thrice my age in the process. Damn those young whippersnappers. I'd make them get off my lawn if it was the last thing I did. Listen, as someone who is in their later 20s, who works with children on a daily basis, I can relate to this. The water cooler disapproved of my investigation. I had no choice but to abandon the pursuit. There was a mysterious power coming from that piece of plastic. When life gives you water, you make a water cooler. That's a weird thing to say, Simon. There were 3 lamps on the wall in this corner. More were disseminated around the room, keeping it well lit. There was no way to turn them off unless we broke them. Didn't think Smiley would appreciate that. This is the doorway we took to enter this place. It was just that, an opening in the wall. Come to think of it, it didn't have a door. Were doors just a kind of wall anyway? I mean, they're in the family, I suppose. At least Smiley is giving us some greenery. Add to the ambiance, giving us some oxygen. The walls here look totally bland, though. It's so bleak. Gray and terrible. Like your face. Can you go a few seconds without harassing me? Life is fleeting. If I don't do it now, when will I have the chance again? How about in 10 years? Alright, A. Save me from these zoomers.
According to the twins, you're an old man. But also, they found one of the exit rooms with the scanner, too.
The old man filled me in. Oh, so it's fine if we call him an old man. What he learned as we walked further into the place, soon arriving at a bar counter. I figured the twins would be too young to frequent this kind of thing. In here, I guess it didn't matter so much.
I assume those rooms are our ticket to leave if we find the 9th person. However, something has been bothering me for quite a while now.
Go on, let me know.
Remember when Smiley said that once we found the 9th person, 2 of us will be allowed to leave? What if he truly meant it that way? What if, once we find the 9th person, only them and someone else can go?
Can't we use the exit room from this station if things turn sour?
No, this place has no exit room. Strange, too.
How can you tell?
The twins found maps in their room. Let me show you.
He pulled out a pile of papers and set them all onto the counter. Flipping through them, he eventually pulled out the one for this station.
See? There is no exit here. The only ways to leave this place is in the areas to take the staircase down to the train.
We were momentarily joined by G, who was curious about the topic. Strange.
Feel free to keep looking at the maps. I'll get myself a jolly old drink.
And with that, he left us alone. Deciding to share the paper with the twin, I pulled her away. Metaphorically speaking, of course. Come here. I have something to show you. To show me? Shh. I don't want to share it with anybody else yet. This couldn't. You could not be approaching this creepier, Simon. She followed me, her interest piqued. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the piece of paper I found in the bedroom. This paper speaks of someone who doesn't belong. Do you know who that might refer to? I don't know. I feel like everyone doesn't belong here. Ouch. I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean, everyone here looks like they're from somewhere else, or is doing something else compared to anyone else, except for my sister and me. Jay looks like she works at a law office, for example. She's an artist, a graphics designer. Or that. Same thing. Anyway, I mean that, like, I guess I don't know? Sorry, I don't think anyone here fits the bill. She was strangely evasive over the topic, but I didn't insist. I mean, I have to assume that's because she knows that something's up with H. Mainly that I think she's a robot, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Instead, I let her go, and she nodded, sauntering her way up to her sister back in the lounge. Maybe she's covering for her sister. Well, that's what I just said, Simon. You need to listen a little more. I need to ask her more about it later. Or I could directly investigate by confronting H about it. Since the twins had gotten themselves busy, I chose to look around for the old man. However, he wasn't in the bar area anymore. Crap, he left me all alone. Hey, have you seen the old man? Well, we're gonna have to find out where this old man went off to. Perhaps something terrible has happened to him, and that would be truly upsetting. We'll have to find out next time. Until then, this has been Downstage Gaming. I've been your host, Josh, and I will catch you all next time.